born into a real fight wasn't right. Where can she dream here?
If you could have only heard the monologue I did before I hit go live. I did one hell of a monologue. I'm telling you, y'all would have had tears in your eyes. I would have been nominated for the internet's version of a Grammy or whatever the hell that's called. I mean, it was just supreme. But of course, I didn't hit live, so, prove me wrong. Hey, everybody, my name is Zach Clayton. I think, obviously, I'm not thinking correctly today, but my name is Zach Clayton. I'm the president and founder of Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PACT channels. We have a very, very special show tonight because last week, due to some miscommunication on my side, and we also had an illness, PANDASNetwork was not able to join us. Well, today we've got 3 people who are representing PANDASNetwork who are going to come on and join us. We will be working with PANDASNetwork a lot more and trying to help them spread the word, because the one thing that I have learned over the last couple weeks is there is not enough. There's not enough people who know about this. There's a lot of misdiagnoses when this comes on. I'm really looking forward to talk to Diana when she comes on, because it really stunned me when I was able to talk to people and they were just like, I've never even heard of it. And it's like, wait, and of course you get that thing going in your head that, wait, aren't you a professional? Isn't this what you're supposed to know? But, then again, obviously I'm supposed to know to hit live, and I didn't do that either. So, I can't get on people because I'm a trained professional, supposedly, and I didn't know what I was doing. So tonight's show, again, is very, very special to me because I get to hang out with my goddess of the grapes, Stephanie Simoes. She's going to give us a little bit more information about One Hope Wines and how you can help PANDASNetwork and help them continue their mission to help kids, because it's expensive. Diana's going to go through a little bit of the cost, and we've also got Kristen, who is she's a mother of a panda's child. As you guys learned last week, so is Stephanie, and of course, so is Diana. So we've got a lot of stuff going on there. Hey guys, we had a really, really, really impactful show on Monday, and I'm hoping that you guys were able to join us for Footprints Forward. We had on a guest that was just, I was watching the show a little bit while I was trying to get everything set up for this show, and going back and watching what Patrick was saying and watching the excitement about what he's doing now and the ideas that he's coming up with to try to help people who are in that gray area of suicide or continue with life. His way that he said, I took my own life, not I tried. Because he does what, and it made sense to me, because I consider August 14th of every year a birthday of sorts, because that's the day that I was reborn into myself as a person who survived somebody running him off the road on my motorcycle. So every year I celebrate my birthday on August 14th. I'm turning 9 this year. And yes, sometimes I do still act like it. I very much so. But I understood exactly what he was saying, and I respected and appreciated his words. So please, if you have a chance, please go back. All you have to do is scroll down a little bit, and it starts out with our Footprints Forward logo, or you can watch it right after this program. We're going to be replaying it then. Once again, it's a wonderful, wonderful show, not because of what I do, because what they do. So this coming up week, we're going to be looking at it again. Just to let you guys know, we are looking for people who want to talk about mental health, who want to talk about suicide. We're really looking for someone who we can talk to in a clinical matter, because we have a couple questions on why clinics work the way they do and why people are being released without being what we see as properly taken care of. We want to hear from your end on this. We know that there's a reason for it. There's got to be a reason for it. I just think it would do everybody really well to learn about what this reason is. There's a lot of times when we take and we try to get somebody in to get the help that they need, and next thing we know, they're being taken back home, and they're just being released without anything happening, and there's a lot of confusion and a lot of pain. If you know anybody who works in a clinical sense in a hospital setting, whatever, we would love to talk to you, because maybe we have a misconception and you can help straighten us out. That's what this is all about. We want your stories. We want to hear what you have to say, and we want to hear why. Why is it this way that you're letting people go without the treatment that they at one point in time have asked for, or we're in a state of crisis in America right now where they're asking us to watch our neighbor, make sure our neighbor's not going crazy. Yet if we send them in to people, they get released. And for us, where it's like, well, I did what you asked me to do, and now there's no treatment. So please, all you got to do is go to this little fellow right here, go to my QR code, and would you shut up, phone, please? And go to that little QR code, and all you have to do is contact me. I would love to talk to you. I'd love to have you on our show. And if you can't come on live to the show, we will record the interview. Now, the show that damn near didn't happen, it's going to start now. And let me make sure. Yes, I did press go live on this one. So once again, I'm bringing on you guys see her twice a month. This month you've gotten lucky because you got to see her every week of the month. Now you're going to be seeing her every week of the month. Hell, I had to just give her a full-time part in the channel. I'm proud to bring on my dear friend, Goddess of the Grape, Stephanie Samos. How are you doing, Steph?
Hi, Zach. That was a lovely intro there. That was great. Take two, right? Let's go. And even the dog wants part of the show tonight. It's great.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got the dog. I got the phones going off. I'm all kinds of professional today. Let me.
It's a miracle this show is happening, but we're making it happen, and I'm really excited. It's true. Patrick's story was super impactful. If you can hang around and watch that replay after, it's really great. And I think his faith really took him through, and he's making a big impact now that way. And that kind of segues into this, because man, I needed some faith along our journey here. And I'm really, really looking forward to hearing from Diana, hearing from another fellow mom, and just hearing about her journey. So this one really touches my heart. This one is super important to me. And I've been using this platform through One Hope to really fundraise for them the last few years. So let's get it started, Zach.
Yeah, let's get going. We're proud to bring on the founder of PANDASNetwork, Diana Pullman. How you doing?
Hello. Hi. Thank you for the warm welcome.
Well, hey, you know what? It's so good that we get to talk to you again. So I'm really glad that we have the opportunity, and a fellow mother that Diana, you're introducing us to. Kristen, I don't have your last name, but it's great to see you. Oh, you're on mute, sweetie. There.
Hi, thank you for having me here.
Yeah.
My last name is Bazaran.
I'm sorry, what was that?
My last name is Bazaran.
Basra? Okay. Well, it's great to meet you. It's great to meet you. So, ladies, you guys all are dealing with a problem that it's not well known, and what, and I know that you three are screaming to the mountaintops on what's going on. What do we need to do to get people to understand that this is a real problem?
Well, so I'm Diana, and I founded Pandas Network in 2009 when my son, who was 7 at the time, he'd been sick in 2007, and he'd been sick for 2 years, and he started getting better after I figured out what was happening. So PANDAS is an acronym for Pediatric Autoimmune Neuropsychiatric Disorder Associated with Strep Throat Bacteria. So it was kind of discovered by a doctor at the National Institute of Mental Health, Dr. Susan Sweeto. She was a pediatrician. She was working with, infectious diseases that children were getting at the national government at the NIH in Washington, D.C. And she started noticing that kids with strep were having psychological problems. And she did a small study on that phenomena. And then anyways, my son at the age of 7 got strep and completely changed his personality overnight. And I'll explain that later, but he got very, very, very mentally ill and neurologically peculiar, dilated eyes, strange body movements. And anyways, I thought it would be really easy to figure out what was happening. My dad used to be chief of pediatrics, and I was well known in the community at Stanford University. My father had passed away, but everybody knew that I was a legitimate thinker. And the doctors just said, wow, we're sorry, Diana. We have no idea what's wrong with your 7-year-old child. Just put him in a psych facility or foster care or social services, because he was so destructive and crying a lot and running in front of cars. He was completely deranged, or often, not all the time, but often. So I started to understand that. You asked, Zach, how can we get better care? And Kristen is my fellow mom in cahoots years ago. We started to understand that research in the brain is lacking. Other than structural damage, how the immune system or how something subtler can attack a person's brain and cause personality changes and physical changes, even including Alzheimer's. Mm-hmm. You can't detect anything in an MRI or a spinal tap or a PET scan until you're in a very tragic situation, near death often. So I realized we were kind of screwed and that the subtler workings of the immune system or infection weren't detected in the current technology. So Kristen and I'm going to let her talk in a minute. Kristen and I have been working for years, especially her in Minnesota, here in Michigan. We began to just raise awareness amongst doctors, saying this phenomena is occurring with infection, and raising money. That's what Pandas Network did. Just moms sitting from the kitchen table, writing checks, thousands of checks, year after year, to begin research and to find the hidden immune mechanisms that were happening with the kids. And now 15 years later, we finally found those immune mechanisms. The paper was just published about 2 weeks ago. So doctors didn't believe it because the work hadn't been published, and it took us 15 years and we raised a lot of money. And now the research is really just beginning to roll, like this week.
A lot of the attention you guys are getting is from across the seas.
Yeah. You mean attention, like people wanting to
right.
talk about the disease? Yeah. Italy is doing a really, really good job. And Sweden, the Karolinska Institute in Sweden, is starting to become interested. Africa is seeing some of this, and some of the people in South America and Argentina and Peru, Brazil are starting to talk about this more openly. In Australia also. But
Those
there's
kind-
small conversations, 3 or 4 researchers, each of them with 100 patients.
Yeah, I could see how somewhere like Africa or even South America, how since this is associated with strep throat and their budgets are so limited to healthcare. When it comes to healthcare, I can see how they would be extremely interested because I'm pretty sure that those numbers, and let's be honest, how many people there are misdiagnosed or not diagnosed at all. So,
Well, 400,000 people in Africa die a year from strep. But we think it's coming. We think it's becoming more of a global issue. We have more immigration now, and we're trying to get the public health department and the CDC to pay more attention to this. But our kids, Kristen could talk about her situation. We're seeing cluster in California near San Francisco Bay Area. We have 500 cases here.
Wow.
Just around Stanford University. I'm not sure what Kristen's got in Michigan. Certainly Stephanie in New York and Pennsylvania, there's a lot of kids.
Kristen, why don't you go on ahead and jump in here and let's hear a little bit about your side of this and hear a little bit about your story.
Yeah, and Diana really has the pulse on the latest research. She's ahead of me on that. So with my son, it was in 2010. He was 7 years old also, and he had like three to five, it's a long time now, strep infections within 2 months, and just normal strep throat symptoms. A couple months went by. I hadn't noticed any behaviors yet. He also had ADD. We decided to start him that summer on an ADD medication, and that's when it almost was like putting gasoline on a fire. That's when the rages started. He had been a calm child. So there probably was a combination of strep throat that had been untreated or not completely treated, and then that amplifying of that medication that exacerbated it. And they then thought he was bipolar because stimulants can make people who are bipolar, it's activating. So they said, oh, it probably activated his bipolar, which he never had before age 7. So so then that summer was kind of a crazy summer. School starts, and he's got major anxiety. He won't go inside the school building for orientation. I say I need to meet with the teachers because something went down this summer and you need to know what you're prepared for, because he went from an ADD kid to a violent kid. And so then took him to the doctor before school started, got appointment right in, and said, I need to do something about these rages before he starts school. They're going to kick him out. And this happened over the summer. And the doctor just did an exam, and we were talking, and he said, oh, he's got strep throat. I'll prescribe him antibiotics and an antipsychotic. So I was like, help me feel more comfortable with that. And so he said, well, it's a low dose
for a 7-year-old, an antipsychotic for a 7-year-old, right?
But that's how bad it was. I was like, okay, it's a low dose. So we left with a prescription for an antipsychotic that he had never had before, my 7-year-old, and a prescription for antibiotics. 2 days later, he was completely fine. I faxed the doctor and I said, this antipsychotic is miraculous. Antipsychotics don't work that quickly. It was the antibiotic. And he starts school. The teacher said he got student of the week. I don't know what you're talking about this summer. What happened this summer? He's great. Well, it came back and they knew what I was talking about. So then it developed, by the spring, he ended up in a psychiatric hospital. He broke my nose at the hospital because I could be there at the time in the hospital portion of it. And in a rage, we didn't know what it was. We thought it was bipolar, blah, blah, blah. 2 years. It took 2 years of living like that. He was kicked out of schools. Then we were able to get the diagnosis. I read about it in a book. And then I found the community online in PANDASNetwork. So
Kristen, can I stop you for a second?
Yeah.
Could you point out that, he got one if a parent is listening, he got one, typical course of antibiotics, right? That first time, and he got better right away. But it wasn't enough, right? Because the immune process is bubbling up, right? And it wasn't. Correct? So they didn't give you more antibiotics or any other treatment. They just said, right. So that's what we're seeing, is that these children, and then I'll let you talk again, but these children have a unique, probably genetic propensity, an allergy to strep. And sometimes other infectious processes, sadly, too. We didn't realize that. It's not just strep. But anyways, for sure it's strep. Some children just can't deal with it. It's like a bad anaphylactic reaction. They need extra antibiotics or maybe some other medicine too. So some immunomodulation. So sorry, go ahead.
Yes. And the other thing that not all doctors do is have you come back after you finish the course of antibiotics and do another swab. I think that's critical.
That's a really good point. Mm-hmm.
And
the
then
strep doesn't always go away. Right?
Yeah, and change your brushes out. Tell the parents switch toothbrushes, because not everybody knows that. So then he finally got IVIG. Besides the antibiotics, it had progressed to the point that he needed IVIG. And so he's been getting that ever since. It started out monthly. That's an immunoglobulin treatment that is delivered via IV. And it has really been amazing. And he's now working full time. He's 19 years old. He repairs computers, and he's living at home, but he's driving, doing great.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Let me ask you this, and Stephanie, I'd also like to get your thoughts on this. Do you think before they start handing out some of these medications for like the bipolar, for for all these attitudes or explosions, do you think maybe they should start checking for pandas first? Because if it's if we all know the word, because we hear it all the time, triggers. Well, if those medications are triggers, they're not helping. I mean, is
Stephanie, did you want to, was Stephanie going to answer that, or?
I mean, I personally was offered medication for my son's tics when I presented the neurologist 3 pages of symptoms that we were experiencing and situations and examples. And she said, well, would you like to medicate him for the tics today? And I looked at her like, really? This is where we're going. We're not going to figure out why all of the other stuff is going on. So, I don't know, Kristen, your thoughts on that. But my question for you, Kristen, would be, did you have any trouble with getting the IVIG covered and all of that? So I'd love for you to highlight that, because I think that that's something we missed in previous conversation, that people don't realize how much of a financial burden this really is on parents. So back to you, Kristen.
I happen to have really good insurance, but how my son qualified was getting a doctor that would prescribe it. And then also because my son qualified for the as an immune deficiency. So there's less questions about that. It was actually treating him for PANDAS, but billing it under immune deficiency because he had a mild immune deficiency.
Right. IVIG is used for immunodeficient people, but only about 20% of PANDAS children are immune deficient. In California, we're just getting legislation now for IVIG. So all of the student or all of the children at Stanford, including me, and I live right next door to Stanford. Like, it's just, I could just walk across the street. I've never had coverage for IVIG, and I've needed it 4 times. Both of my children developed PANDAS, and each time it's been about $12,000. So I have no savings left, nothing. So we're just getting coverage in California for IVIG. My children aren't immune deficient, so we've been barred from getting coverage. Massachusetts just got coverage for IVIG, but a lot of the insurance companies are crooks. They're the mafia, I think.
I say it.
Even if we have legislation, they're shaking us down. They don't want to pay.
Yeah, I say it all the time, Diana. Look, those people did not become multi-million billionaires by giving away money for free. They really didn't. The insurance company is, it's something that you're thankful that you have when you get sick, but you're never thankful enough to where you're going to send them a thank you card because they don't cover everything. And yeah, I don't know how many times during my motorcycle accident alone that there were things that they were like going, well, we're going to cover this, but this isn't part of our purview. This is something else that came out of, and it's like, wait a minute, this is all one thing. And that's me.
I've really stuck in here for 15 years, and Stephanie has been an angel for donating. I mean, I can't say enough how much it means to get her checks, from the wine, fundraising. And then Kristen has been a friend to me for years, and we've talked many times on the phone. I've been talk about suicidal, so depressed. It's been really painful watching these mothers, several thousand mothers like these women fighting in different capacities. These are two women that I talk to a lot. I don't, talk to everybody. And we fight really hard, just like you did, Zach, to prove that we deserve treatment. So when you have a sick child, plus you're having to prove your own, emotional feelings about the situation, the trauma to their family, it's exhausting, particularly for the mother. I think a lot of people get divorces through this whole process because it's just really exhausting.
You can't heal if you're stressed.
Well,
it's impossible to heal if you're stressed. If you're, Diana, in your case that you just said, you had to give up your savings. If you're watching all that stuff flying out of your pocket, out of your, you watch it all go flying away. Yes, you're doing it for the benefit of your child, but you can't heal personally when you're losing everything.
So what I found is we have this beautiful community, like the four of you, that there's these people who've suffered. I mean, people have suffered throughout mankind. So we have this beautiful Zoom community and phone call community. And I just decided that God just wanted me to be here.
Yeah.
And, I've stayed long enough to prove, I stayed longer than I planned on because I thought it would be faster to prove some basic mechanisms so we can have a basic blood test. And we finally did it. Like, it just happened. 15 years. So now I'm almost 60. I started when I was 41 years old. It's longer than I thought it would be to prove the mechanisms, but the doctors in the insurance companies will have to pay if we have something that we can show in the blood. So now, how can people help Pandas Network? They can help Pandas Network by helping us raise money so we can give money to now develop a blood test, because now we have the immune markers. We have 23 children that we've proven the immune markers on. Again, the paper is coming out. It's on our website, and I can give you the link later. And then we have to hire a company to then create the blood test so mommies and daddies can get the blood test when their kids are sick. And then I think that's going to help a lot. I mean, I think insurance companies might help us sometimes.
Yeah. The last thing in the world we want to do is sit here and bash insurance companies when there's such a need for them in this case. But I'll just flat out say it. Hey, come on, get with the times. You don't know everything that's out there. So let's, if parents are struggling, if their kids are struggling, if kids are being affected, it's not done for no reason.
That's the key, Zach. Kids don't misbehave for no reason. Mm-hmm. I don't think so, unless they're really badly abused. Mm-hmm. I don't think so. And that was a big question I had. Kristen or Stephanie, did you ask that? Like, there has to be a payoff for a kid to ask bad, unless they have like a brain malformation. Like, why would they?
Right. Mm-hmm.
I don't understand. I still don't understand why pediatricians don't know that. Why would a kid act totally bonkers for no reason? They don't believe the mothers, I guess.
Is there
I don't know.
is there anything that we can take and arm ourselves with when we go and talk to the pediatricians, that we can say, hey, I'm not trying to tell you to do your job or how to do your job, but have you ever considered this? Is there anything that we can?
That's why we have the website. I mean, Kristen, you've written a lot of literature up for doctors. Do you have anything you want to say about that? Or
Well, one of the panels that some of the doctors who treat pandas run is different markers for strep, like ASO, that's an immediate infection. DNase B, I believe, is the longer form of
it's like the after effect. It's an immune after effect.
And also if it's a viral issue. And there's some immune markers in case there is an immune deficiency that can play in. But yeah, checking for infections, I mean, that's like your first.
Just ask the question. Just ask the question.
The question.
Yeah, like I said, I've learned over the last week when Stephanie did a wonderful job representing Pandas Network on our show last week. You know, I've asked a lot of people, you know, hey, has Andrew ever been tested for pandas? And to a person, they were all, for what? You know, and it kind of floored me. And I was like, and so believe me, Diana, when I say this, Diana and Kristen, I've been passing along your guys' website quite a bit this last week. So trying to get it, because we've got another medication coming down the road that stops the rage. Well, now it's got me thinking, hold off. You know, I mean, if we don't get this tested right, and I've accused doctors quite often of treating kids like dolphins at a show. You know, they're just throwing pills at them like they do dolphins with fish. You know,
well, the access of the neurological, so the brain, you know, how you behave, neurological, psychological, the access of that with the immune system is brand new. Like understanding that there's a connection is brand new. So 10 years, really, that there's been recognition. So what I found is that neurologists in particular, sorry to any neurologists listening, absolutely do not want to address this. They do not want to test. They don't want to engage in it. There's some that are, but they're not trained in immunology. They don't understand science. That's what they've told me. So the better doctor is an immunologist or a rheumatologist, because they look at the autoimmune process and understand it better. I've been really surprised. Neurologists don't understand the immune process. They just literally don't study it. So, and psychiatrists are very good too, but we're trying to spread word. The word, it's mostly being spread by psychiatrists nationally and internationally, but there's a lot of resistance, almost a block. And I'm happy if they come get mad at me and want to sue me for slander. I don't care. The neurology, you know, community, most neurologists that are a part of the American Academy of Neurology in particular do not want to acknowledge PANDAS or any form of autoimmune encephalitis unless there's seizure or near death occurring. That's it. That's the threshold. So it's a new form of science. Studying immunology it's a big deal. I'm hoping that the new young neurologists will study immunology a little bit better so they understand how it meets the brain. But our new research will explain it, and hopefully people will read it. We'll be pushing it.
Yeah, Kristen, what are you seeing in which, you know, Diana's told us a little bit of the things that she's seeing as a positive that are coming up. What are you seeing as a positive that changes that are being made?
Well, we haven't done it lately because of the pandemic, but we used to do these exhibits at the Michigan chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics, if I got that right, the AAP of Michigan. And and Diana Pandas Network sponsored us. So we would talk to pediatricians at this exhibit, at this conference, at our table. And the first year, they wouldn't make eye contact with us.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that. What year was that? Like 2010, 11?
14, 15, something like that.
I was way that.
Yeah. So they wouldn't make eye contact. And then the next, however, I had prepared these studies that were from Pandas Network website, printed the studies. I'm not sure if I was supposed to do that because it's protected data. And I put them in a folder with our logo on it and handed them out to the doctors. The next year, we got more eye contact when we showed up. And then people would admit that sometimes that they actually treated pandas patients, but not like openly, like one-on-one. They would sometimes.
Because there's the professional ridicule. It's really bizarre.
Dr. Kiki Chang presented at one of those before the pandemic.
For Stanford.
Yeah, for Stanford. And I think he has a private practice. And so he presented at this conference. And I was told by another parent that he asked the audience, do you have any pandas patients at the beginning? This is my recollection of what happened. And nobody raised their hand. At the end, he asked something like, do you now see some evidence that pandas exist, or something to that effect? And some people raised their hand at the end of his presentation.
Wow.
And one raised his hand and said, I have a patient. So like there was a marked difference between the beginning and the end of his presentation. So he made some good strides there. So I think we need to get back at that on a national level.
There's a lot of shame about mental illness. And I'm really encouraged that with the pandemic, and I think the media is trying to do a better job, just all forms of media, about suicidality and bipolar, and not being afraid and not being ashamed of talking about ADD or schizophrenia even. I feel like there's more openness. I don't know. Do you guys?
Yeah,
do you? Yeah. And I think that there's shame. Doctors don't want to say they're treating a person with a mental health presentation. I think it's shame. Part of it has been.
As I was saying before I brought you lovely ladies on, we've got a problem right now where there's doctors that, everybody's telling us we're supposed to be monitoring our neighbors, watching our neighbors. Hey, you got a neighbor out there who's flipping out and, yelling at a wall? We need to watch, make sure that they're not a danger to society. Yet when we take and we try to do something about it, instead of treating them, they walk them in, they pat them on the head and say, are you okay now? And then let them walk out. And it's like, wait, what the hell did I just do? I mean, if I wanted to give the guy a cookie and a teddy bear, I could have done that. There's a problem here. Why aren't we addressing it?
There aren't enough social workers. There's not enough support. I don't think there's much at all. There's the new phone number for suicidality, at least, and trauma, the 288 number.
There's also 988.
Oh, 988, not 28.
988 that we've got.
There it is, right there.
So yeah, it's one of the numbers, and which I don't understand why I've got hours on there. I look, I tell people all the time, you guys get to type with fingers. I have kielbasa sausages that slam against the keyboard. Sometimes words just appear. So that I'm pretty sure that's what happened there, but I'll get that changed. But yeah, 988 is the national hotline. If you are feeling,
it might be by hours. It might not be 24 hours. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it actually is a 24-hour thing. And like I said, I think it's one of those things that my fingers I meant to type in something else and hours came out. So
typing.
Yeah, but PANDASNetwork.org is what we're talking about right now. We've got showing a great showing because all three of these ladies have been affected and have a lot to do with this wonderful organization. Diana, you were talking about, and this is your website here. You were talking about, you know, that the money, and we know that money is the root of all everything. What else can you do? What else can someone do to support you? What else can someone do? And
we have downloadable forms on our website. There's other PANDAS websites. We're non-denominational. I mean, anybody who wants to go to any PANDAS website, and if you hand it out to your school and start educating school nurses and even your pediatrician, just pass them a form just so that they know the name of the illness, or talk about it at your church for 10 minutes, or talk about it with your girlfriends at coffee, or your male, whomever your friends are. The more we spread the word, the more it just becomes part of the culture. And there's a lot of resources on our website you can download, and you can hand it to people just so they even know the term. Yeah. And so when they see why we put on the front of the website this new IVIG treatment study, it's an intravenous immunoglobulin. We have a company who's given $20 million to study the use of IVIG. It's only for certain select, very young children. It's not for everybody who's maybe older and been misdiagnosed. But they're trying to help out. But that's just one study, and most of the clinics are 1 or 2 doctors. And the more we spread the word, the more we hope other doctors will get interested. That's it. It's just, and talking to legislators. If you know a state senator or a congressperson or assembly person, tell them about it.
And if you can get them
with the nonprofits, they'll help you write a letter to your legislator or anybody you'd like. We could help write notes to people that you care about and want to talk to about it.
Yeah, if you can get that congressman or that senator to put down their wallet for a minute and listen to reason, that would be a good thing.
I love
you do have a video on here, Diana. Do you mind if we go on ahead and share it? It's about a 3-minute video.
Which video? About the little girl?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, please. She's
Okay.
like an actress on Broadway now.
Oh, really? So this is a video that actually really proves our point that there's hope. And
He's like
right here it is. So, but we're going to go on ahead and we're going to show you this video. This is called Rebecca's Story. Rebecca was an outgoing child whose personality changed dramatically after a strep infection. Receiving a PANDAS diagnosis gave her family hope. I think that right there is something that I really want to take and focus on right now. Getting the PANDAS diagnosis. This is something that I see as a struggle right now because there are not enough people who know about it. So hear her story of diagnosis, treatment, and recovery. So this is a story that you can find on the PANDAS Network. And we're going to go on ahead and play it for you now. And ladies, we'll be right back, and we'll finish this up and let you wonderful ladies get on with your day. But again, this is called Rebecca's Video. Did I do it right? Probably not.
No,
I guess if I click and get going.
Rebecca is our second oldest. She's generally the type of person that kind of lights up a room.
She was a very good child. She was very smart, like from an early age, very outgoing child. She was doing really well in kindergarten. In the spring of 2009, after multiple positive strep infections, we started noticing a lot of anxiety, crying, not engaging at all. She just changed dramatically from this very outgoing, very smart, articulate girl to a child who needed help doing everything, even being fed. It's very, very difficult to see your child change. We just didn't know if she was going to come back.
I was 6 years old. I couldn't answer questions. I couldn't walk. I couldn't talk. I couldn't eat, speak, breathe, drink. It's the level of, oh my God, I can't do anything and I'm scared.
I really felt like we weren't sure if we were ever going to get that energetic, beautiful child back. So the pediatrician mentioned that it might be PANDAS, and we had no idea what it was.
PANDAS is part of the spectrum from the umbrella of autoimmune encephalitis. The immune system of the body overreacts to infection from bacteria or viruses and mistakenly targets cells of the body because the body is attacking itself and producing antibodies. The brain develops inflammation, and this is when neuropsychiatric symptoms develop. There are many different kinds of symptoms, starting from tics, severe OCD, intrusive thoughts, hallucination, eating disorders.
My wife came across the PANDASNetwork, got us the cell phone of the neurologist. The neurologist put her on a taper of prednisone. Within 4 weeks, we started seeing the little girl come back.
We were seeing little improvements each week, and then all of a sudden she's all excited. I can talk again. That was when I felt hopeful that we were going to be okay.
So it was that was a moment where we felt like maybe we were going to get her back. I think it's the best outcome any of the parents could hope for.
It's important for people to hear about PANDAS because there are too many children out there who are just, it's not even being considered as a possibility.
Organizations like the PANDAS Network are super important because of the 1, awareness they raise, 2, communities that they build. If I could say one thing to a kid who has PANDAS, it would probably be, I know you're exhausted. You won't be dealing with this forever. And if it is something that's kind of going to be in string with you for the rest of your life, there are so many things you can do to kind of make it go a little easier.
We ran into a couple of people who just really did not believe in PANDAS.
I met so many professionals that are working with kids with PANDAS, misdiagnosing and mistreating, not because they're bad, they're just not informed. Only when we start treating it as a medical condition, then the entire medical profession will pay attention and take it more seriously.
And my hope for the future of PANDAS is that it's acknowledged and it's treated.
I am sharing my story because I am able to now. It is so important to talk about for a lot of different reasons, but primarily for our future.
Again, I think that is, I think that story was really beautiful, and you could really tell the pain of the parents. And
yes, it's a sweet story.
It is. It's a beautiful story. I love it. You actually have quite a few speeches and so much more on your website, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a YouTube channel that you can there's a pull down resources and it says videos. And we just put up a new lecture about the new findings. We had a lecture with 1,000 people attending about 2 weeks ago. And we're going to have another one on June 29th. And all those lectures by professionals that are studying this are on our website. We feel like the whole world should be completely accepting of this. So it's really been perplexing professionally too. We have a lot of resources on our website. A lot.
Right. Stephanie, you had a question for Kristen.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you would like how network may have helped your family or the resources.
I could. Yeah, unfortunately, your kids are pirating your bandwidth, Stephanie. So, but she wanted you to. Her question is how PANDASNetwork helped your family, and give some advice to parents that may be listening and that are just getting started.
Yeah, well, the website is where I went first, and I made a connection with Diana. Seeing something I could, a tangible place where I could see that this is a legitimate condition. There are others that have this, and all the resources in one place was very instrumental. And then as I started doing my advocating in Michigan, I reached out to Diana, who has a pulse on the community and the medical progress. So I was able to get that encouragement and the direction from her, some guidance on how to navigate that and without offending, say, the neurologists. And so that was very, very instrumental. I had been accused by a pediatrician, my son's pediatrician, of having Munchausen's by proxy. So I really needed that support of other parents who had been through this before. And so that really helped my mental health so that I could support my son.
Ladies, can you, go on ahead.
We have a lot of volunteers that are helping us, and we're doing conferences and have various local meetings happening, support group meetings happening. So we have people ready to help other moms connect with other people. We have a list of phone numbers on our cell phones. If you live in different parts of the country, we can connect you with other people. You can't, like including you, Zach, you can't do this alone. It's a little confusing at first. Then you'll get the hang of it, how to look at the immune system and encourage a doctor to not be afraid to just check the blood. Check some things out.
Well, I know that being a doctor is not easy, but there's and I know with inventions like WebMD and stuff like that, every patient knows exactly what's wrong with them, and I understand that, and I understand that there's got to be frustration, but there's also got to be a point in time when somebody says, "Look, I know my child better than you do. I know something's wrong." Ladies, and I think that the three of you can work together on this question, and I think that you guys could really answer this question. What are some of these signs that that parents should be looking for to where they can say, "Hey, look, my kid's got 4 or 5 of these signs. We really need to get the blood checked." What are some of the signs that we're looking for?
Stephanie, you got the youngest. Why don't you start, since you got the baby? You got the babies.
Babies. 5.5 more weeks, Diana. Can you believe that? I'm over here like,
pretty cool.
So some of the things we experienced with my oldest son, and that was a traditional abrupt onset overnight shift, was OCD, anxiety, like Kristen mentioned. We did have the dilated pupils. He did make some weird arm movements, actually, too. Now that I think Diana mentioned that tonight,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Especially when he would like be on the playground at preschool and be running like weird arm movements all of a sudden. We also had regression when it came to being completely potty trained at the time.
You mentioned that last week.
There was a number of things. Yeah. And the tics would present differently. Like some would come and go. So it wasn't always just a throat clearing tic, sometimes it was eye blinking, so it shifted and it kind of went in phases and we would better and then we'd dip again. So, but go ahead, you share, please.
Kristen, I was just going to say, and then Kristen, you can add, one of the big things for me that scares me the most is the sleep disturbances. Not all of the kids get it, but I see the kids that are getting the sickest cannot get into the REM state. They wake up with nightmares. They wake up with tremors. They wake up with their legs shaking and their body shaking, and not being able to enter the REM state is a really big thing to notice in a child. And if they're weeping uncontrollably often, there's something profoundly wrong, not just for one day after day. Mm-hmm. Even giving a child Motrin and noticing that that symptom subsides is a clue that you've got some inflammation going on. Anti-inflammatory. And what about you, Kristen?
Fortunately, it's been long enough that some of the memories of that have faded. But I can still remember the dilated pupils for sure. The very first symptom was we were on a walk. This is after the strep infections. We were on a walk and his knees buckled and he was kneeling on the sidewalk with this dazed look on his face. And I was like, what's happened there? My sister had epilepsy and I thought, I think he just had an absence seizure. And so that's when I wanted a referral to neurology, thought it was seizures. So a good part of this journey, I thought before I knew about pandas, I thought he had epilepsy, absent seizures. And so that was one.
Stephanie? Wow.
So would that be kind of like a muscular skeletal
central nervous
weakness or episode?
It's the central nervous system. So the immune system is attacking the brain subtly, not a massive seizure, so it never stops. It's this slow kind of electric shock torture that can create a lot of different things that neurologists don't consider are profound enough, because it comes and it goes and it comes and it goes. But it's literally the immune system creating a central nervous system disorder. So shocking the brain, coming and going, coming and going.
Okay. And Kristen, I just want to apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I am literally writing these down because I want to be able to talk to somebody. So, but please continue. What else did you notice?
Well, just about the how that works. One neurologist who does treat pandas said that my son had limbic encephalitis. So it's been a while since I looked at, but that's LIMBIC. So anyway, you can look that up in your leisure. But yeah, the rages, losing control of urine, and I think, and also like
handwriting.
Dr. Jekyll and Hyde, like he would act like he was possessed, and then it was gone. And that's why I said they were like seizures, because it would happen, these episodes, and then he'd come out of it. And
so fight or flight, it's like, they're afraid all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Afraid. And it's harder, Zach. Once a child, what we used to believe was that it lasted for a year or 2 or 5 years and it went away. Just would go away. That's what the doctors were saying to us. And I never believed it at all. So that's why I created PANDASNetwork. I was like, it's so bad. I don't believe you. So I wanted to stay and watch. And so I've been studying kids now, 200 young adults for 15 years. And half of them who didn't get sufficient treatment are relapsing. Now they're in their 20s. So you have to really keep an eye on the immune system, because it's a chronic possibility that symptoms will happen. So like my children aren't on antibiotics anymore, but they're really well aware that they have an allergy to strep in particular. There's some other viruses, and pneumonia can reactivate it, severe kind of infections. So they know, as young adults, they're 18 and 23 now, like, go to the doctor if you're sick, take your antibiotics, antivirals. If you're starting to feel cuckoo, and anxious and your personality is changing, take a leave, get a steroid, call me, call the psychiatrist who knows pandas and pans, and take care of yourself. So they're not afraid. But we're the first generation, Kristen's kids and mine, and there's many other moms, we're trying to educate the kids on how to take care of themselves. It's just a bad autoimmune process that can be controlled.
What's the connection with autism?
Go ahead, Kristen. We're not sure, but
I don't know what what she has, but my son, the 2 diagnoses that he had was autism and bipolar. And this was after he developed pandas, that they were like, it's clearly autism and clearly bipolar. Before that, it was, he has some sensory issues and ADD. But after the strep, it was, he's fully autistic. And no, how does he fully become autistic when he wasn't before? So I think he's on the spectrum. After treatment, he was diagnosed with social pragmatic language disorder, which is on the spectrum, but he did not meet the qualifications for autism after he was treated. So it depended on where his brain inflammation was, where he would land on the spectrum when he was tested.
But he finished high school with good grades? Yes. I've emailed with him. He's very intelligent. Is he going on to college or work?
He did take a college class, but he's working full time and repairing computers.
He's not autistic.
I don't know. He really is. But he clearly looked so when his brain was inflamed and bipolar.
So my son was considered autistic. They told me it was late onset autism at the age of 7. There's something called, there's a diagnosis they're using in Europe right now called functional disorder. The kids are imagining it. They're so distressed that they're creating psychiatric symptoms, or the autism is acquired somehow when you're 10 years old. It's just bullshit. Can I swear?
Yeah.
So my son, who was, quote, autistic suddenly at the age of 7, and I'll just say this, and we had a lot of autistic kids in this area, near Stanford. They were allowing a lot of autistic kids in the regular mainstream classes. And my son is 7, and he's really bright. And he said, "Mommy, I'm becoming autistic. I'm sorry." And then he'd go into these weird rages and behavioral issues and weeping and throwing papers around and slamming his, like kind of doing weird body movements. But that boy now is running his own company. He's perfect graduate, perfect straight A's, beyond straight A's at Cal Berkeley as an engineer. He's his own company. I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. But had I listened to that, that's why I keep doing this. Had I listened to that, I would have no son. I would have no child. And that's what I'm seeing, is that the kids who don't get help, Zach, some of them can kind of eke it out when they're 18, 19, 20. They can kind of get through it, but a lot aren't.
Well, I want to say this real quick, and I want to say this to Kristen and Diana and Stephanie. I'm glad that this is proving something, and I think that you'll agree with. There's hope. Your kids still have problems. Still have this show up every once in a while. But PANDAS is not a death sentence. PANDAS does not need to mean that your kid gets ostracized and left out of everything. This is something that they can build themselves back up. And it's kind of one of those things. One of the things that bugs me the most, about, and I've discussed my feelings on trying to get complete diagnoses for Andrew. One of the things that bugs me the most is hearing, well, Andrew's never going to be able to do this. And I'm going to use your words, Diana. Bullshit. Not if we don't give him a chance. If we don't teach him that he is no different than anybody else, if we teach him that, oh my God, you're special, you're different, you're going to need this all your life, then you're right. He doesn't stand a chance of being able to do that.
Well, the stress and shame around it is so, that's why I like the destigmatizing of autism in a way, the destigmatizing of mental health stuff. What are we supposed to do? Like destroy everybody that has any issue? We have to be more embracing and try our best to find solutions to the problems. Maybe it's not going to be a perfect solution, but so what?
Well, every single one of us has limitations to who we are, and those limitations are going to be there until we figure out how to work with them. This is something that Kristen and Diana, I just want to, thank you so much for the hard work that you guys have been doing for, decades now. And
Thank
Stephanie,
you, Kristen. This is the first time I've been able to be with her on a Zoom call.
Well, I'm really glad that this is happening. And then Stephanie, I commend you for jumping in full force and doing what you do, because I know your power. You and I have been partners for a year now, and I know how passionate you get about this. And this one's personal for you. And you and I have done shows before with caregivers, and that's very near and dear to everyone here, all of our, because even if they're your child, you're still a caregiver. You got to give that extra care to a child until, once again, we figure it out. So, but this is just so encouraging. And like I said, it was a light bulb moment last week when Stephanie was talking about some of these things. And now I'm just so intrigued that, when I walk into a doctor's office, I want them to look at me and say, oh no, we've ran the test and this isn't it. If they don't run the test. I don't want to hear that it's not, that this couldn't be part of the problem.
Well, we'll
So,
have to talk after the broadcast if you'd like.
I would absolutely love to. Kristen and Diana, thank you to both very much for joining me. Please, ladies, if you would like to stick around and learn some more about some of the great stuff that Stephanie does, it's time for her to put on her Goddess of the Grape outfit and talk a little bit about the wine and what we're doing. But if you need to leave, I completely understand, but we'd love to have you stick around.
I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm going to stay. I'm going to watch the Goddess.
Yeah. I might go off camera.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. If you'd like to do that, that's perfectly fine. Yeah. So, but Stephanie, sweetheart, tell me something. Of course, I'm lacking in my job. So, but just one second here. Why don't you explain to me what we are looking at? Is she frozen again?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, your kids are really eating up your bandwidth again, Stephanie. So I'm going to try to explain this to the best of my ability until we get your bandwidth back. But as you can see, you're looking at 2 QR codes that were generated by Stephanie with One Hope Wine. Anytime that you purchase any bottle or package of One Hope Wine, you can support one of these two programs that we've got going here. One of the programs being Pandas. And you know what? This is this is even the right one. This is the right one. Where'd it go, Stephanie? What am I doing?
Hold on.
There we go.
There we go.
Thank you.
Hey, I spent time in the emergency room today, so please forgive me.
You did. It's a miracle that we're here.
I'm really only working on half a brainwave, and yeah, that's only about a quarter of a brainwave short of what I'm usually working at. But the top one, well, Stephanie, you're back. I'm going to let you do it. You're better at this than I am.
Yeah, no, thank you for covering me because my kids obviously kicked me off here. I hope that doesn't happen again. So the top QR code is the direct link to the Pandas Network One Hope fundraiser, where when you shop through that link, 10% of every purchase goes to Pandas Network. The bottom QR code is for Pieces of Me Foundation, which you heard from last week. So these are 2 incredible causes that we're highlighting this month. And if you are not on our community Pay It Forward One Hope fundraiser page on Facebook, please join us there because we're highlighting really awesome nonprofits every single month there and sharing some fun recipes and food pairings with the wines and all kinds of stuff too. So.
And because you've already seen it, I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to share it with you again. But you can get to our Facebook group by scanning this lower QR code right here. This will take you directly to our Facebook group, and you can see everything that goes on and everything that we're working at if you just scan that QR code.
Perfect.
So now let's talk about some of the great stuff you've got going on like this.
Yes. So as you all know, and if you've been following along at all, I am constantly fundraising for Pandas Network. So truly, every single purchase means a whole lot to me. I like to send them monthly donation checks. So help sip and support. And with Memorial Day right around the corner, right? Why not? I cannot guarantee, of course, that you can get the wine by the weekend just because we're so close. But I will say it does ship really fast. So if you need some things for the weekend, it will probably ship out by tomorrow if you were to order tonight. But hey, if not, stock up for after Memorial Day. You'll need a refill by then, right? And we have a really incredible flash sale through the end of the month where you can shop to support Pandas Network. So there is a select mix pack sale going on. Additional 25% off on top of the normal discounts that you would get with the packs. So let's dive right into it because there are double discounts going on. And yes, they give back too. All right. So,
and this is just, I mentioned this to you before we got started. This is just such an aesthetically pleasing looking package. I mean, it's really a pretty package of wines. And so, but I love the way that they put this one together. I just think they're wines that look beautiful together.
These are definitely some of my warm weather favorites. So there are 4 packs that are on sale. We have the white and rosé mix pack, which is on the screen. We have the sparkle mix pack for those bubbly lovers. We have low sugar reds and low sugar whites. And I'm going to go through each of them just to tell you what's in the packs. You can see the beautiful photos there, but I'll explain actually what's in them too. So with the white and rosé mix pack that you love, Zach, and I actually think this is a good choice for you. You get 2 of our Vintner Collection rosés. You get 2 of our Vintner Collection Pinot Grigios, which is our driest white. It's nice and refreshing for warm weather. And 2 of our Vintner Collection Sauvignon Blancs, which Sauvignon Blanc happens to be my favorite with making white sangria in warm weather months. So just throwing that in there. So these are definitely some of my warm weather favorites in this pack. Then we have the Sparkle Mix Pack, which includes 2 of the Italian Proseccos. If you like bubbly, this is your jam.
Yep.
1 of the Vintner Collection Sparkling Brut, 1 of the Almond Sparkling Wine, which if you've never had that, you need to try it. It tastes like Italian cookies. It's amazing. It's amazing for brunch. It's amazing for dessert. And I find it to be unique. It's something that's a little bit different. It also comes with our Moscato sparkling wine and 1 of our Pink Shimmer sparkling rosé. Beautiful bottle, great for special occasions and gifting too. So I just love those shimmer bottles. I don't throw them away. They could be a vase or something afterwards. They're really pretty.
Ours is still in our display case up on the main floor. The one for our wedding, it's still up there on the main floor in our display case. So yep, we're not throwing it away either.
See? They're keepsakes. And you know what? Wine reminds you of the good times you had, the people you were with, and wine brings people together. So that's awesome. I love that you saved that, Zach. The 3rd pack would be our low sugar reds. So if you're looking for some drier reds, this would be the pack that you would want to go with. You get 1 Vintner Collection Pinot Noir, 1 Vintner Collection Cabernet. Both are great. If you're grilling meats and stuff, you want these wines around. Also the Vintner Collection Red Blend, great with bacon burgers, steaks on the grill, things like that. 1 Monterey County Reserve Pinot Noir, 1 Paso Robles Reserve Cab, which is one of the top sellers, that Reserve Cab. It's delicious. And 1 Hospitality Collection Red Blend. That one, that's one of my favorites. The Red Blend got me into reds, and you can really taste the cocoa in that wine. So really, really delicious. So
this one here would be a really good choice for people who really want to get a taste of different wines. There's not a single repeat bottle in this one.
No, and there's a really good selection here, and you get some reserves in this pack too. You're actually getting the Vintner Collection, our Hospitality Collection, and some of the Reserve Collection too. So it's a nice mixture with this one.
Wow.
So if you like red, that's the pack I would suggest. And finally,
that one, I'm sorry, Stephanie, that one's also the low sugar.
Yeah, so it's low sugar. When it comes to wine, if you're looking at the whites, the drier whites like the Sauvignon Blanc, the Pinot Grigio, that's going to be your lower sugar whites. But these are your lower sugar reds. Something like a Moscato is going to have a higher sugar content, not because sugar is added to the wine. There's nothing added in our wine at all. It's just grapes, but the different grape varieties produce a different sugar content. And then that's where you get the different varietals, like the sweetness of a Moscato versus, a Sauvignon Blanc grape. Awesome. So this is our final pack that's on sale with an additional 25% off. These are our low sugar whites. This pack also has 6 completely different wines. You have the Vintner Collection Pinot Grigio, which I just mentioned, the Vintner Collection Sauvignon Blanc, the Sonoma Coast Reserve Chardonnay, the Arroyo Seco Chardonnay, both reserves. We also have our Rutherford Estate Sauvignon Blanc. Those grapes are grown right on our property in Napa, so that's kind of a special bottle. There's only so many of those that are produced. And one Sonoma Coast Rosé, which is absolutely delicious. So you've got a mix in this one as well.
Oh, that's great. And remember, everything right now, this is a flash sale, so it doesn't last very long. But right now, you can get any of these packages for 25% off. And how do you go about finding them? By contacting Stephanie and getting on her link tree, and you're going to be able to get in there and find what you're looking for.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Pandas Network link is right on my link tree, or you can use the QR code that we shared previously. And like I said, I can't guarantee shipping for the weekend. But if you were to shop and support today, you may receive it for the holiday weekend. Shipping is really super fast. I think Diana could attest to that too. Yes. She lives in a place where she gets her wine pretty quickly. But this sale is just for the next few days. So great summer stock up sale. And yes, every single bottle is going to support Pandas Network through that QR code.
Thank you very much. And it helps us pay electricity bills, phone bills, keeps everything that we do at Pandas Network is everything is donated by parents. And it allows us to reach up to 30,000 families a year. We get almost 3,000 hits a month on our website. It's crazy. So we're really glad.
You know what? I'm hoping that that we get to be a way that maybe even more people are looking up what you guys are doing, because what you guys are doing is fantastic. Stephanie, let's talk about something we haven't talked about for a while. You guys also have basically, in layman's terms, you guys have little taster bottles that you guys also have, correct?
We do, yeah. So you can, if you have upcoming celebrations, I actually have one here. We have our mini sparkling brutes. We have some other varietals too. These are really popular because they're fun, they're bubbly, and we can also customize the labels now. So let's say you have a graduation party coming up that you wanted to do something fun with. Well, let's say college graduation, not high school.
Yes, thank you.
We're talking about alcohol here, right? But a special birthday. Not only can we customize the larger bottles on our Cabernet and Chardonnay, but we can also do the minis now too. And I love having these on hand as like thank yous and just little like things to gift and give away. I find that people really enjoy receiving something as a thank you. And this is a quick, easy, and it's giving back to your favorite cause. So yes.
And I think that those are such a great gift for all of our real estate agent friends, because, real estate agents always spend that extra money on gifts for people who buy a house. This is one of those wonderful things that you can say, hey, enjoy this while you're entering your new home, entering your new life. So I think it's fantastic. Stephanie, you have not raised $9.7 million by yourself. How can other people get involved?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that was definitely not all me. It's pretty incredible what we've done like together as a community to really make an impact for over 42,000 different nonprofits. So whether you like to just have refills on wine, like jump on our wine club, you can select Pandas Network as your, charity of choice every time you get a shipment. They receive a donation. It's part of the wine club too. Out. All right.
And
I'm back.
You're back. And we unfortunately
I'm so sorry.
lost you again. No, that's okay. Yeah, But all you have to do to get the information on this is go to once again, go to Stephanie's link tree, and when you go to her link tree, there's a link in there. Well, ladies, I want to thank you all very much again, and I wish you guys all the best of luck. Diana, I hope that you and I get to talk again here real soon, and we get you.
We'll get you the panda bear protection.
There you go. There you go. And we can get you in the community pay it forward program, and we can keep becoming, we can become part of what you guys do, because I fully support everything that you guys are going through, everything you guys have been through, and everything you guys are doing. Kristen, it was so nice to meet you and hear your story. I invite you guys to come back anytime that there's something that you guys need to talk about, or legislation that you guys are helping to move forward, or any way that we can help you, because this is, look,
thank you.
I've got a saying that, I love my kids, yours not so much, but every kid deserves a chance. And if we're not giving them all that, every chance that they deserve, we're taking away that chance. So that, we really want to support you guys in what you're doing. And so anything that comes up that we can help support you, please contact us. So, but ladies, thank you so very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Stephanie.
Appreciate this opportunity.
Hey, not a problem. Stephanie, thank you so much for being my huge support system. You and I talk quite a bit offline. You were willing to take and run with this tonight, while I was sitting there with needles in my arm going, So, and then of course I started thinking about, if I do it in this condition, maybe the show will be a little bit better. But hell, who doesn't like seeing a big old fat guy drool all over himself?
Oh, God.
Apparently Ghost does, because
we're a good team, Zach.
Yeah,
it was a miracle we made this happen this week, for a number of reasons, but we made
thank
it.
You, Kristen, for helping out.
Thank you, Kristen, and so nice to see you, Diana.
Nice to see you, and take care, everybody.
All right. We are going to come right back, and again, thank you, ladies. We're going to come right back, and I'm going to introduce you to Captain Joe, who helps businesses get referrals, because you know what, if people can't send you an honest referral, you can never improve your business. So we'll be right back. So I was lucky enough today to connect with one of our brand new community pay it forward giving partners, and what these individuals do is very simple. They ask us to help them get the knowledge of their company out to you, people who are looking for different to-do list items. And as I mentioned, Captain Joe has a lot going on, and he actually has a lot more going on than even I knew. But what he does is he helps your company accept reviews, whether they're good or bad, because there is no such thing as a bad review. A bad review is a learning part of learning. And I make mention of this in the video, and it is true. I took, and we're 7 years into this crazy community pay it forward thing, but I spent the first 5.5 years screwing everything up. Wanted to find out what didn't work. Boy, there's a lot of things that do not work, let me tell you. So, but what Captain Joe helps you do is accept these wonderful, wonderful comments from your customers, and it helps you improve. It helps people tell others that, hey, you ought to use this service. And when they do that, Captain Joe, when you shop with him, Captain Joe is going to give us a portion back as a referral. And then that referral goes anywhere from 80 to 90% goes back to causes like PANDASNetwork. So as I mentioned before, this is an interview I was able to record before I went to the hospital. So this is Captain Joe, and I love his little thing that he does with his commercial. And I hope that you guys all also like it, because it's so fantastic. So once again, this is an interview I did earlier this afternoon. Hey everybody, Zach Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and I'm here with one of my really good friends and one of our very great partners. Captain Joe is not only a new giving partner with the Community Pay It Forward program, he's also trying to help us improve. Joe, the way that you help us improve is by giving people the conduit and the ability to leave reviews, not just talk about the company, but actually leave a review, which is used for improving and just making things better and allowing people to express problems or issues or great service.
Absolutely. Yeah, 5-star reviews are very important to a business because it can either make or break your business, as a matter of fact. Yeah.
And your program is it's very, very simple. You hook it up you can hook it up to many things. You can hook it up to your website. Of course, Google, because Google loves good reviews, right?
They love to receive and display reviews because they use that as part of their search ranking. So the more engagement from a human, i.e. reviews, the more credibility that you have. And because Google wants to make their customers happy, which is the person that's looking for a service or product or whatever, they want to have the right answer. So if you were to type in, say, I want to buy a new car, and then they display a bicycle and a truck, that would not be very good.
Right.
So if you're looking for a great place to help veterans out, i.e. you, when they search, they would look and say, okay, what are the available options? And you would want to be the one at the top. And the reason that you would be at the top is because you have most credibility and you have lots of 5-star reviews that are consistent over time, that builds a story that then Google and Facebook can then display you with confidence that they're providing a good solution for what their client is looking for.
This also gives the customer a way, as I mentioned just a couple of minutes ago, this also gives the customer a way to communicate directly with the company, the heads of the company. What are your customers able to do, and why is this such an important program to them?
Well, my clients are the restaurants, small services, and some big, I have some big clients as well, like Chevrolet and Kia. But the smaller clients are the ones that really can see the benefit. And the reason is because they can interact with the clients like they'd never have before. When you say, hey, could you give me a review? And of course, using my automation system, you don't even have to ask them. It's done through the automation. So that way you don't have to be in the process, but you have a process to get reviews. And once the review is written, wow, everybody's happy. Now, a good review is always great, and that builds the ego that a business owner needs sometimes. You need to know you're doing the right things, but it's also good to know when you're not doing the right thing. But you don't want that written as a review on Google. You want it to come back to you as a message, and that's a thumbs down. So I've actually trademarked give me a thumbs up, but if they give you a thumbs down, that means that they're going to write you a comment or a message that comes back to you that you can read it and delete it. Or you could turn around and say, look, this is a real legitimate problem. So for example, I went into a restaurant the other day and the food was great. It was hot. Drinks were cold. The waitress was good. The waiters were good. And everything was good except for one thing. It was 60 degrees in there and it was absolutely freezing. And I had the cold air coming right across me, made it very uncomfortable. So my decision is, what do I do? Right now, if that restaurant doesn't have my service, all they can do is accept getting a review on Google that would say, hey, this was a 1 star. Well, with my service, they click thumbs down and they say, it was cold in there. And the manager would go look at it and say, turn the warm on, turn the heat on, turn it back up to 74 or 76 or whatever it needs to be more comfortable. So knowing how that bad thing comes across and being on top of your business will make it very good. So this is the two-way communication. Now, if you do get a bad review, because we can't stop somebody from writing a bad review, but we can redirect them. But if they do write a bad review, we'll teach you how to respond to it. And you want to respond to it in a timely manner. You want to respond to it correctly. Because again, this is communication. This is the way to respond to the public, and the public will look at it. I mean, if you look at Google, they've got 3 different criteria. You got the newest review written, you got the highest review, most relevant, and the lowest review written. So basically, those are the options. So if you look at the lowest reviews written, you'll look at the 1 stars. And the purpose of that really is for the business owner, because we'll get them, is to be able to write a response that says, look, we made a mistake, but we have since then fixed it, whatever it might be. And that way the future clients will go, that's the one I want to work with, because I may not know exactly how I want my pool to be built, but if they make a mistake, they're going to come out and fix it. And that is very powerful. So it's not all bad. We do want to get more 5-star reviews because generally we want the higher ranking. Anything above 4.5 is really good. But yeah.
Yeah, it really shows accountability to a business owner who can take and turn around a bad review. And it also, it shows people who cannot handle adversity very well. You can really see people, sometimes going, well, it's, so you just came when we had a bad night, and we had, people make excuses instead of making it right, so I do love the way that, and you can help coach people, like you said, you help coach people through these bad reviews, so they're not making excuses, they're making amends.
Yes, absolutely. This is where we build trust with the client. Yeah, we make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. If you're not making mistakes, you're not doing anything. But you don't want to reply, well, it was your fault or blah, 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 because now they're going to go tell their brothers and their sisters, and they're all going to probably write reviews. So now you got 5 or 7 or 10 bad reviews that you'll never get out of. So you don't want to ruin your reputation. You want to improve your reputation, even though you might get a 1-star review occasionally.
Yeah. I've worked in plenty of restaurants where, you know, things have gone bad. We've had fryers go down, and they didn't handle things all the time correctly. And it came back to going, well, you know, these people can't maintain their equipment. You know, why am I going to risk going back in there? And then if you look at them and you say, you know what, we got this fixed. Thank you to you know, so and so company for responding, or, you know, to our request right now. Then you're using it as another weapon. You can use it as another, you know, thumbs up to a partner who can, you know, sit there and say, hey, look, man, you know what? They not only helped us fix this, we'll offer you this, but we also want to give thanks to these people who came out and fixed our problem right away.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Joe, you've had a couple health issues lately, but you've got a unique way of trying to rehabilitate yourself. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I had a life-threatening event last year, and went into the emergency room. They said you have 100% blocked artery, which is like having a fuel filter that's cut off for your car. And through the testing throughout the day, they said, Joe, your days are numbered, and it's 0. And the doctor came in later that night and he says, we've never seen such bad numbers on your enzymes but I can't do it now because I'm too tired and I don't want to make mistakes. So we'll come in the morning. And he did it. It took him 15 minutes. I watched him put a stent in my heart, which was pretty amazing. And then I got to thinking, okay, why do I have this problem? What did it happen? It caused this problem. And so I decided that it was time for me to take my health into my own hands. And so I got on YouTube and I started looking at a lot of different videos. But the reason I started that was because when I went in Thursday to the hospital, I didn't eat Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And I got out Saturday, but I didn't eat Sunday. So I didn't eat for 4 days. And I'm like, wow, this is kind of amazing. Because I felt smart and no brain fog, and I was feeling really healthy. Now, granted, I felt like a 20-year-old when they put the stent in me, but now I felt like, wow, this is amazing. So it gave me a flash of an idea. It's like, wait, what is this? And I started looking up, and I found a couple that are really good videos of a couple doctors that have been doing cardiologist work for 30, 40 years, best known. And they said, guess what? We don't know what we're doing, but we figured it out. And imagine you're a cardiologist, you've had thousands of clients, you've made millions of dollars, and then you say to yourself, now that you've been doing this all these years, I just figured out. And he published his first video about 3.5, 4 years ago when he figured it out. And of course, I just got to it. And I wish I got to it back then. But the simple term is called fasting. And fasting means that you're not eating. Okay. So how long? Well, you don't eat overnight when you're asleep. So just extend it a little bit, right? And that's what he talks about. He says, well, if you stop eating, and they call it fasting, you'll be fine. You'll still live. So how long do you fast? Well, I fasted for 4 years or 4 days, and I didn't even really think about it. But then I got to reading and looking and watching the videos. And what he said was, the difference between fasting and starvation is that with fasting, you know you got food in the refrigerator. Starvation is when you don't have any food in the refrigeration and you don't have any food to eat. That's starvation. And we don't want to starve, but we don't want to eat so much, so frequent. So really it's the frequency that we're eating. So that's the first thing I learned was frequency. So don't eat so much. Don't eat so frequently. Why is that? Well, because the hormones in our body, they call it insulin, they can call it whatever you want, but our body is saying, oh, you got food coming in, we got to process it. So if it's processing that food, it can't be rejuvenating and rebuilding your body. So if you're constantly eating lunch, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then you got a couple snacks, maybe a snack at the end of the night, you're constantly eating, your insulin comes up high and it doesn't ever come down. So if you just stop, your body says, you know what? Let's now do some rebuilding and rejuvenation. So what happened to me was I said, okay, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm not going to eat anymore. And then I'm going to eat one meal a day on every other day. And then I started to improve the quality of the food. So as I learn about the processed foods, I start to learn stuff to make it simple. I don't buy any food that has a UPC code on it. Well, no, there is a barcode for bananas and oranges and things like that.
Yeah.
Cilantro, those are vegetables and things like that. So yeah, those are the things that are not made by humans through processing. They're made by Mother Nature. And so that's what I decided to do. And I'm starting to do that. And then a few months after I started that, I went back to the doctor. And he says, Joe, you've lost 50 pounds. And I said, yeah, but that's not my goal. It's a result, but it's not the goal. What is the goal? Well, I started out with 100% blocked artery. Now, that doesn't mean my other arteries are clean either. But the only way to get rid of the plaque that's in your body is through the immune system going in there and eating it and pulling it out and feeding it out and processing. So that's what I've done. And now blood pressure is fantastic. 116/75, 78. Very good. Everything is on track. And what I have found is by not eating some of those things that are processed, which I loved. I was drinking 4 and 5 cans of Dr. Pepper a day. A little excessive, but hey, I liked it, right? Well, I turned that off. Now I drink 0 sugar, soda, all that stuff. And then I got thinking, well, I love cake too, but guess what? That's made out of sugar. And I said, well, I eat sandwiches, but that's got bread in it. So you have to think, how do we used to eat? The caveman back then, he didn't have all these processed foods. If he couldn't pick it off a tree or dig it out of the ground or catch it, he wasn't eating.
Yeah.
Okay. And if he's not eating, that means he's going a day or 2 or 3 without eating. And so because of that, some amazing things happen after a few days of not eating, or, as little as 48 hours. First of all, your growth hormones kick in. That means you're going to be stronger. But wait a minute, I'm not eating. How can that happen? It's because we're chemicals. Our body's producing different chemicals. Our liver produces and does 500 different chemical reactions and creations. So your muscles improve when you don't eat. Oh yeah. Your mind improves when you don't eat. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. You become sharper. And you can do this. Just do it for a couple of days. See how you feel. You ain't gonna die. I mean, you could, but that would be from a car wreck, but not from not eating.
Yeah.
Okay. But you could try it. And if you get to a serious point where the ghrelin, which is a normal hormone, says, hey, I'm hungry. Yeah, you can go ahead and kick in and eat. But I had a buddy of mine, he just sent me a text. He says, Joe, I went 38 hours of not eating. And you know what? Looking back when I was first starting at 18 to 20 hours was so difficult. Now it's 38 hours and it's no big deal. So we just talked this morning and he made himself a fantastic breakfast. I made my lunch and we won't eat tomorrow. We will eat on Friday lunch together. And he's lost about 50 pounds. He's got another 50 to go. And he says, Joe, if we hadn't got together, I wouldn't be alive today.
Your body has your body has fat stores that can manage you going without food for a little bit, right?
Oh yeah, that's absolutely what we want to do.
Right.
We absolutely want to. And I watch the fat on my stomach. It grows and it shrinks on a daily basis. It's amazing. I mean, I used to have a big stomach, but I never noticed when I got, more or less fat. I didn't notice. But now that I've lost all this weight, I'll have one little roll of fat and the next day it's gone. And then when I eat, it comes back. It's amazing. I've never noticed that. But you'll notice that with your life, how the things will change with the food. So learn some stuff. Learn some stuff. Take health into your own life. It is yours.
You were talking about like stuff like bananas and cilantro and stuff like that. Do you try to pick organic or any? Does any fruit really work? In which organic fruit is really kind of one of those things that really kind of confuses me anyway. I mean, to me, it's all organic, but I understand that there's a different way in treating it. But do you go for all organic, or you throw in, if it's in the fruit aisle, it's fruit?
Life is a balance. Food is a balance. There is some good food and there's some bad food. Organic is probably good. There's some fruits and vegetables that are better that are organic than others. But to look at, hey, the crap that I was eating before, anything that's vegetable is much better. Now you could fine tune that and you could start to do more organic and stuff like that. That's true. And then you can fine tune it again by growing your own vegetables. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you need to take a moment here and go look up microgreens. Yeah. Start growing microgreens. What are those? Well, go find out. Hydroponics. What are those? Go find out. Start growing your own fish, because you're going to get tired of eating jalapeno peppers and bell peppers and cilantro and onions and stuff. You're going to want to put some meat with it, maybe. So learn to grow some fish. Yeah, grow some tilapia. They reproduce like crazy. They're known as trash fish because they reproduce 150 to 1,500 every 6 months per fish. At the end of 2 years, you're going to have 1 million fish. So just,
that's
do that.
insane.
Okay, so how do you do that? Well, go learn it. This is the reset of our life. And generally, it does not happen until you've had a reset, which they call a life-threatening event, like I had. It's like, wake up. But wake up before you need that stent put in. Wake up before the cancer gets you. Wait a minute. You mean I can prevent cancer? Absolutely you can. Stop eating sugar. Quit feeding the cancer. Oh my God. You don't believe that? Go read on it. Go research it. Yes. It is amazing.
And you, this kind of ties into one of the other things that you've got, which is dreams to reality. Because you're talking about your hydroponic and stuff like that. You're doing this in your home, which happens to be an old airplane.
An airplane, absolutely. It's an MD-80 and a DC-9 I have. Yes. You've got to think outside of the box. I've had 5 homes that were very nice homes built to the ground up, brand new. And that's really great. Now this house is over 40 years old. Now it wasn't always a house. It's only been a house for 10 years, which is the longest I've lived in a house for a long time. But think outside the box. Do you really need 4,000 to 5,000 square feet of a house? Not really. How do I know? Because now I got 500 feet here, and it's overwhelming amount. It's like, oh my God, this is so fantastic. Why? Because I'm not spending all day heating and cooling it. I'm not spending all day cleaning it. My last 3 electric bills have been like $40. And I'm in Texas, guys. Okay. And that's it's not sinful or shameful to live in a house that's small. Heck no. If it's small, you don't have to buy a bunch of crap. And when you buy a bunch of crap, you got to maintain it. Yeah. Everything that you buy has to be maintained. Everything. So now it costs you more money. So give yourself a haircut and do something today. And that's what I call my dreams to reality. And there's really 4 things that you've got to do. First thing is you've got to create a dream in your mind. Make it a good one. Make it big and strong. One that, takes some effort. Give it a name. That's number 1. Give your dream a name. Number 2, now that you've got a name for it, give it a description. Very simple. Give it the best words you can. Go to ChatGPT if you need help. Number 3, put today's date on it. And number 4, you need to sign it. Those are the 4 things that will get you to living the life of your dreams. And the reason is because now every day you could do something that will get you closer to your dream, living the dream. And every decision that you make, whether it's to buy this or that, or friends or family or whatever, every decision that you make will bring you closer to your dream life. So whatever it is, my dream life when I was 13 years old was to live in an airplane. Now, how did that come to be? Well, I was sitting there watching TV in a black and white show called The Magician with Bill Bixby, who later became the Incredible Hulk. But in this show that only had 3 episodes, you can look it up on Google, no problem. The Magician, Bill Bixby, he became a fantastic magician, and he'd use his magic skills to solve the crimes with the police. Then at the end of the show, he'd drive his Corvette into the back of his Boeing and fly it to the next city. And I said, dude, I said, Dad, this is what I want to do. Now, I didn't know how. I'm 13 years old. I certainly didn't know when. I didn't know any of those things. The only thing I knew is I could feel the why. I loved it. I loved magic. Being a good guy on the side of the cops is a way to be. And I loved Corvettes. Now, I didn't buy an airplane that flies, but I converted it and I welded it to the ground here. So it doesn't move. It's a 3-bedroom house. I don't have a Corvette. I bought an SLK 350 Mercedes Benz, but it's okay. I like that one too. And so I'm living the dream, and I got a lot of friends that I live at an airport, so I can walk across the runway and go visit a friend and go fly. So what are you doing today? Well, you just wrote it down. Now you have a clear flight plan to start living the life that you want. Give yourself a haircut. Get rid of all of the stuff that's in your house that you don't absolutely love. And believe me, you don't love everything. Clean it up, get rid of it, and then understand that you could downsize. I hate downsizing. It's really upsizing at a smaller location. But now you could get the things that are so important to you. Downsizing, get yourself a great bed. Get yourself a great little kitchen and a nice bathroom. And use the outside as your world. You don't need a living room when you've got the outside. I mean, I've got a living room here. It's got one couch in it, and I got a table for a dining room. But heck, I eat outside every day.
Yeah.
I mean, I got tables and chairs out there. Bring your life out to the outdoors and take your shoes off and walk on the grass and the ground like you did when you were 10 years old, 13 years old. Enjoy life.
You know, Joe, one of the things that I'm going to say about your 4, your 4 rules or your 4 things that you need to do. Number 3, the date.
Yeah, use the date date.
Yeah, I know for a fact putting a date on something works. 17 years ago, February 6th, 17 years ago at 6 p.m., that's when I smoked my last cigarette. And I had a date on it, and I had it that's when it was going to be. And I went from smoking 3 packs a day to where I have not smoked another cigarette in 17 years because I put a date on it. So not knowing anything about what we just talked about and hearing that, I can already verify that this is something wonderful because I see the date on it, and I can testify that if you put a date on something, that means you're serious about it. And that gives you a definite goal in mind. And one of the other things I would like to maybe even add to this is, you know what? You can't think you want it. You got to know you want it. Because if you think, you have an out. If you think you want something, you have an out. If you know you want it, you're going to fight for it. So.
Yeah, the amazing thing is that over time, you will accomplish these dreams that you wrote down. So when you finish that one, you start another one. And all of a sudden, the second dream and the third and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth become a whole lot easier. I mean, I built 4 or 5 homes from the ground up. The first one was really rough. The last one, a no-brainer. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Nothing to it. Run your life the same way. It's like giving birth to a child. You write the birth certificate. What's the birth certificate? It's got your name or their name. You got their name on this certificate. You got a description. They got blue eyes. They weigh 8 pounds and 6 ounces, and the date that you signed it, and your name that you signed it, that you're the dad or the mom, whatever, right? It's giving birth. Now, here's the thing. You only have one child. Maybe you could have 2 children or 3 children or 4 children. The same way with your dreams. You don't have to have one dream.
Yeah.
You can have multiple dreams. They don't cost you anything to dream. And you could do something every single day to get closer to that dream. So when I was young, what did I do? I said, well, I want to learn to fly. That didn't mean I'm living in an airplane, but I wanted to fly. I couldn't afford an airplane. I didn't even have a job. I'm 13 years old. So I tell my dad, hey, I'd like to learn to fly. He said, well, let's build a man-powered airplane. So we did it. Now, is it a failure? You could call anything you want to be a failure, but to me, it's just a step. Yeah, we built it. It didn't get off the ground. But guess what? It was the step in the process. So what that means is now you have the confidence knowing that you cannot fail at all. Those are just steps in the progress of your life and of your dream. So start with magazines. Go look on YouTube. Look at the different things. Oh, I want to build a house out of an airplane. Go look it up. Go look at the best airplanes that are built. I mean, they're $400 million. I can afford that, but I can build this and afford this. Why? Because I got a problem and I figure a solution. And that's how you need to do it.
You know, it's just wonderful. A couple months ago, we had a gentleman on who is for our homeless vets. He's taking old ambulances and building tiny homes out of ambulances and that is Rescue Plus Residence is what it's called. So he's in California, but I think that it's the same concept. So Joe, how do people get a hold of you? And then you've got a very exciting thing that you'd like to do at the end of every commercial at networking, and I would like you to do that for us.
Okay. I'll do my standard commercial. Attention, business owners. This is your captain speaking. Fasten your seatbelts as we prepare your business to navigate the world of online reviews. Give me a thumbs up if your reputation is important to your business success. Excellent. Welcome on board. All you have to do is go to givemeathumbsup.com and book yourself a discovery flight, and we'll help your business take off so that tomorrow you can sit back and relax and watch your 5-star business take off. So that's
I love it. Well, Joe,
excellent.
Joe, thumbs up to everything that you're doing. Thumbs up to all of your help, and thumbs up to much success that we're going to be building together, my friend. Thank you so very much. Keep up being you, and I do love it. Like I said, there's so much in your message that we tell people all the time. I frequently tell people that, look, I took the first 5 years of my business and I figured out every way in the world to screw it up, which is perfectly fine because now I know how I don't want it done. So
That's right.
You're right. It's not screwing up. It's doing it. It's learning from mistakes, and mistakes are to learn.
Yeah.
You can never learn how to win until you lose.
That's right. You got to have, those are called steps to success.
Right.
Steps to success. You can't fail.
Yep.
You cannot fail. Even if you think that's a failure, not being able to fly my first airplane that I built off the ground, it's okay. Nobody else has done. Well, maybe one guy did it, but very, very rare. But that's okay. You cannot fail. So now you have the confidence and you have the tools and the technology right here in front of you. Use it to your best advantage.
Well, right. I thank you so very much. Like I said, I feel like running through a wall now. I mean, you're inspirational. I appreciate it, my friend. And how do people get a hold of you? Give me a thumbsup.com.
Give me a thumbsup.com. You can search my name on Google. It's Joe Axline. Last name is just like airline, but it's AXLINE. You'll see a whole bunch of things. Certainly the givemeathumbsup.com it has the contacts on one of the buttons there, and it says, hey, send it over to me. Of course, Facebook, joe.axline. So yeah,
You
and
can
get a hold
also,
of you.
you can also find him right here on communitypayitforward.us with Axline Advertising Agency. So you can find him anywhere. So not hard to find. All you got to do is look up and look for the blue thumb. So, but Joe, once again, thank you, my friend. I'm going to give you a thumbs up. You did a great job. And let's do this again as soon as we can, huh?
You betcha. All right.
All right.
Stepping out of her fear, bring me home. Out alone, show me the way. You wanna be a part of Sunset Boulevard.